Mid-December, I'm at the trailhead for the High Falls Loop Trail. The first part of the trail is actually a road. It's a primitive corridor here in the Five Ponds Wilderness. I believe the town of Fine has some rights to use this to access some of their infrastructure, and that's why this primitive corridor is here. But it's a beautiful, wide, smooth trail, easy walking. We're going to leave this trail not very far from here, turn left and go down what they call the old Leary Trail. That used to be the main route that people from Wanakena would use to reach High Falls. After the big blowdown in the 1990s, it was abandoned as an official trail. Nobody has signed in on the trail register since back in November. One of the nice things about hiking this time of year, if you haven't had a big snowfall and you have had temperatures below freezing, the mud holes solidify. They at least crust over and they don't sink in. When you're walking on that crust, you get yourself a big muddy foot. Not very far up the trail, we have a pretty little rill running off the hill. Ice covering the boulders already from the splash. Here's a spot where there is actually water running down the trail. 45 minutes, including some stops to take some video and some pictures. The foot trail through the woods for the Leary Trail is off to the left. When I've done it in the summer, it hasn't been hard to follow at all. There's the remnants of an old trail marker growing into the tree. I wouldn't count on seeing too many of those along the trail because they haven't been replaced in years, well, decades. An outlet from a beaver pond. A few logs, old logs, stretched across it. I think rather than trust my luck to those, I'm going to use some stepping stones to get across here. Question is, where is the best spot to pussyfoot across here? We have the remnants of another footbridge. That one's even in worse shape. It's totally unusable. And the stream's a little bit more formidable. I'll have to scout this out a little bit. Alright, I bushwhacked downstream a little way. And that's what we have. We have some rocks. I can probably use as stepping stones to get across to the other side. There are some beautiful spots on the trail where you walk through hemlocks. Taking the Leary Trail was kind of a chance. It could have been snowed over so that I couldn't see it. Could be flooded by beaver, so I have to backtrack. And we saw the bridges that were out. Here you go. There is a prodigious beaver dam at the end of that beaver meadow. And that dam blew out right in the center and dropped the water level a couple meters. When the water was up to the top of that dam, acres here would have been flooded. This would have been a huge pond, complete with an island in the middle. Where I'm standing right now would have been underwater. Oh, there's the lodge over there. It's another beautiful stream here, crystal clear. Here we have an absolutely huge beaver flow, a series of beaver dams. And here we are coming to the intersection back to the High Falls Trail. Now the question is, can I get across that beaver flow up to the High Falls campsites? If I can't get across, I'll double back and camp down by the river on the Sand Lake Trail. Alright, so here's the tail end of that beaver flow. At the far end there's open running water. I don't know if we're going to get across that. I think discretion is the better part of valor, especially in these temperatures and being out alone. That's looking back up the beaver flow. Yep, so here we are, just to the right of the intersection with the Leary Trail. It's the trail off to Five Ponds. You got some signs here. If you're on the Sand Lake Trail, across the Oswegatchie River, campsite 25 will be just ahead on your right. Go a few meters along the trail. There's a huge white pine with a foot trail sign on it. Follow that trail, go up and over a hill, very narrow little foot trail, with a precipice to your left down to the river, so be careful. Here we are at campsite 22. Kind of a steep slope to get down to the river. The channel here is deep, the bottom is sandy, and the current is pretty swift. Really nice little fire ring overlooking the river. Wide, flat place for a couple tents, maybe 3, plenty of room here. There's a log there by the fire ring that you could sit on. Somebody's got some boards they set up on this old blowdown to use as a table. And there's a little rill or creek draining into the river just on the far side of the campsite. You can hear the water running all night long. If you're at campsite 22, there's a sign pointing away to a spring. So that is the quote-unquote spring. That's a surface water source. I wouldn't trust it to drink from it. It's 4:30. It's dark, the sun went down already, of course, because it's the middle of December. Ground was almost too frozen to get the stakes in, but I did get the tent stakes in. Campsite 22 has a much better fire ring than campsite 25. So I've actually put my tarp up and my hammock up over in campsite 25 over the hill behind me before following the trail over here to get firewood. And I looked around and said, wow, this is a nicer campsite. And it's got a great little fireplace here. So I'm going to have my dinner and have my fire over here. Then I'll head back over there to sleep. It's probably better anyway, so I won't be cooking or having any food anywhere near where I'm sleeping. Tonight's dinner, Sierra Spaghetti by Hawk Vittles. 6-ounce package, 810 calories. Little campfire here at campsite 22. Got up well before dawn and packed up, had my tea. So I activated these hot hands last night at 7 o'clock. It's now 7:30 in the morning, and they are still warm. They worked great. I tucked them down into my socks. Stayed nice and warm all night long. Good job, hot hands. And it's just starting to snow, so I got a boogie woogie out of here. Oh, about 9:30. I left campsite 22 at 7:40.